Does anybody know who I am? Has anybody met me before? Well, okay, right, fine. All the people I spoke to when I got here. The reason I asked that question is until about 6 months ago, I used to work for a little San Francisco startup called Twilio. And I was one of their evangelists. And what that basically means is I go to a lot of events and try to convince people to use Twilio's product. What's an event? Well, this is an event. Right now, in theory, I'm not really asking you to use my product, I'm trying to get your feedback, but it's the same thing. This could be a conference, this could be a meetup, this could be a hackathon, this could be any of those kind of things, and I'm going there and I'm trying to get these people to use Twilio, and then I'm going away again. And now the one thing we all learn, and I hope everybody has read this, is like Eric Ries's Lean Startup, there's the build, measure, learn cycle, right? You do something, you measure it, and you learn from it. But what I found is I'm going out there, I'm doing all these events, and then I'm sticking some data in a spreadsheet and no one's looking at it again. What we're doing is we're building, and then we're just repeatedly building and hope it works out. My general philosophy of life is if you're doing something in a spreadsheet, you're doing it wrong. I appreciate, so you're a very big fan of Microsoft products, but maybe we differ. So what I decided to do is I built this product called OK, or OK Loco, or I haven't really figured that out, so if anyone has any great ideas, that'd be fabulous. And what this really allows me to do is to figure out when I go to an event, when a company is representing themselves at an event in some field marketing capacity, to start gathering data about that, analyzing it, and figuring out what to do with it. Does that kind of make sense? Okay, I'm seeing some nodding, that's a good sign. So this is it. If anyone wants to ask me what the typewriter is for, I don't fucking know. It looked pretty. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to log in. You don't need to see the login page. It's really not very interesting. And this is my dashboard. So what I'm really seeing here is the next event that I'm going to, which is called GraphHack. I know how much I've sponsored it for. It's £100. And I know that there are 63 people going to that. So I know that per person at that event, from my marketing spend, I'm paying about £1 per person. So I can start using this figure to start factoring out my cost per acquisition for new customers, right? So I can kind of see how much I'm spending. If I look down on some past events that I've done before, my buddy Paul, who's supposed to be here but chickened out because he went to the pub. Thanks, mate. I'll be on the recording. He ran this event called Get Beers, and I have a bunch of information about it, but it's in the past. So let's just take a quick look at this event here. So I hypothetically sponsored £500 for this event. There were 48 people going, so I spent like £10 per person, which is kind of a lot in marketing terms. And then I've got this nice little graph telling me about this attendee history. And what it's telling me is that I've met about 20 of these people only for the first time. At this event, that was the first time I met them. But another 20 of them, that's the second time I've met them. And then, there's a bunch I've met 3 times and more. And it's telling me handily that I'm only getting like 40% new people at this event. Okay, so depending on my marketing strategy, depending on whether I feel that my product, whatever it is I'm trying to sell, depends on stickiness, which is constantly meeting me in the field. A lot of tech companies who do evangelism depend on the idea that you are constantly reminding them that you're there. And maybe meeting only 40% new people is fine. If, on the other hand, all I'm really interested, so perhaps, I don't know how Virgin work, but maybe you're just interested in getting out to as many people as possible because you have a 5th of May deadline, so you just want to tell everyone you can by the 5th of May, So you have slightly different strategies. But other things I can do with this, I have like my full description, so I know everything about the event and all the details that come with it. I can have my whole comment thread, so, I can talk about whatever. And have discussions with my team around whether or not we should do these events. Now, obviously, we're looking at a past event, but that's fine. And then I can go and review them. So after the event, I can set all of my different review questions to say, hey, was this a good event? Like how good was it? Well, it's Paul's and he's not turned up, so you know what, it wasn't that good. How good were the organisers? Well, that's Paul, he hasn't turned up, so it wasn't that good. How well engaged were the audience? That's, what, they were drunk. They were really engaged. And what majority of the audience were developers? Let's say about 2 out of 5. Many developers in this room. So I can go and save that. So now I have my review score out of 5, and it's going to help me compare it to other events. So hey, I spent £10 each, and this event is scoring 2.3 out of 5. Not sure. But then the really cool thing is finding out about all the attendees. So this is a pre-imported set of attendees. I'm going to show you how this works in a minute. Or I can start collecting all the data about all the people who were in that room and find out interesting information about them. So on the off chance, does anybody recognize their own name in this list? Yeah, that was a big ask. There's like 8 million people in this city, but whatever. So who can we use? Let's use, I don't know who Simon Wood is, but apparently I've met him before. So I got his name, It tells me that I've met him twice, and it tells me that he's not a customer. But let's have a look. There we go. So it tells me I've not got much data on him. I know his name, I've met him twice. It tells me that I'm the person who's met him. If there are other team members in here, it'll tell me that they've met them too. We don't have an email, we don't have telephone, we don't have anything particularly interesting for him, but we do have his Meetup account ID. And what that means is whenever I go and get another event, and I get from Meetup, for example, and I get another Meetup user ID, I can match them together, and that's how I can figure out how many times I've met this person. So for example, I can see where I've met him. Okay, I met him at Get Beers and London API. Now I know those are two events in the same group from meetup.com. So I know that this guy is definitely going to all of their events and all of the things they're running, and I can see they're having a good return rate. Kind of interesting.
Have a big round of applause.
Yeah.
How do you tell the difference between attended to events that you were at, like a person attended to events that you were at, versus you actually met them? Or are you just, you assume that people are phenomenal at actually meeting people and you meet everyone that attends everything?
Well, I must say, as a Twilio evangelist, it's my job to make sure I met everybody. No, I don't do that anymore. But I do still own shares, use Twilio. No, so that is a really, really hard problem to solve. And the kind of approach I've taken to that is if you are using if you're doing like any kind of interactivity with people, you're doing demos, you're collecting business cards, whatever it is, you're gathering data you can upload. So one of the things you can do with goals is you can mark people as like these are an interaction rather than just someone who was in our presence where we were sponsoring, we were putting money in, we had advertising, whatever. And what you can do is we can import from CSVs. So like I could put in like a bunch of telephone numbers or a bunch of business cards or whatever these things are, tell it to go off, import that CSV and say, okay, so this is like the person's name, this is the person's telephone number because I got it off their business card, and then just go and tell it to go and import that data as well, and it will cross-reference it and see if you've met them anywhere else. That is an extremely hard problem to solve, but that's kind of where we're trying to go with this, and you have to incrementally step through it. But that is a very good question, thank you very much.
Perfect.
Anyway.
Big round of applause for
Thank
Michael.
you.